On today's episode, we're going to continue the desk remodel and add some cool features to the tabletop. Let's get started! Boom! On the previous episode, I built a drawer cabinet to store some audio, music, and camera equipment that will live below the left side of the desk, and in this episode, I'll be making some modifications and improvements to my current desk that I actually built back in 2016. So the first thing I did was to clean up all the mess and move the computer out of the way, disconnect all the wires, cables, and light switches. This tabletop was initially installed at a rather conventional height, which doesn't really work for me since I'm so short. And this is basically the reason that moved me to get started on making this working space better for me. I found an excellent office chair that comes in 3 sizes, seeing as this one is the smallest and the only chair that I ever sat on that was actually good for my size. To relieve leg pain, the feet must be fully supported on the floor with the legs at 90 degrees, which for my case, it means that I gotta lower the seat quite a bit, which means I need to lower the top as well. I also want to get rid of the metal rail underneath as it blocks my knees from getting forward. I started by setting the entire table as I'm seeking a different look and finish that will make this gray MDF a bit darker. I did pause 2 or 3 times during the setting course to pop out the varnish buildup. It only takes about 2 minutes to make the setting pad good again, and it's totally worth doing it, as this is a high quality sandpaper. The initial pass was made with 80 grit, and the smoother passes were made at the end of the job right before applying the finish. Let's start to make a few changes and enhance the features of this desk. Embedding a set of outlets is something that I've been looking forward to for a long time because it is just so convenient. Once the face frame snapped into the structure, the only way to pop it out is by inserting something like a screwdriver and leverage these little recesses. That means that this edge needs to be exposed. At first I was thinking that it would look weird, but I ended up liking its final position. I traced the reference lines and stuck together a few pieces of MDF to create a wall template around the shape. It seemed to be the best option to use the router with a flush trimming bit and achieve a perfectly sized pocket to later insert the outlet. I simply used double-sided tape to keep the MDF walls in place while I routed the pocket. Weirdly enough, the double layer of gray MDF block was slightly thinner than the regular brown MDF, so I leveled it up with a piece of thick paper. This was fairly easy to do as the router bit bearing keeps the line straight. The long piece was transferred towards the edge, so I could establish a straight recessed line. Checking for fit, and it looks great. I can now go ahead and remove the middle portion, opening a pocket for the outlet face plate. First, I brought the middle section to the same depth as the routed lines. Squared up the rounded over corners and trace squares where the electrical parts will be embedded. Once the middle points were found, I could drill large holes using a Forstner bit. If you haven't seen the desk build back in 2016, which can be found in the description of this video, I'll just clarify that this desk was made with a hollow core door. This is why it looks this way inside, and insulation foam was applied by me to reinforce the area after trimming off a few centimeters on one end to fit in the available space. I cleared up the area and drilled holes for the wiring to cross from one socket to the other. Finally, I drilled another hole for the cable that will power up the outlets. I can start assembling and wiring it all up, but unfortunately I lost the footage of this part. I flipped the tabletop over and moved into embedding this wireless charger for my phone. After doing a bit of research, I ended up opting for this type of charger that doesn't come with a case. It just seemed to make more sense because 1, I didn't get unnecessary plastic parts, 2, it probably won't get as hot while embedded since it has no case, and 3, there's no additional material between the phone and the charger besides the 3mm MDF that will be left when I make the hole in the desk. It works really well, and you can find the link in the description as well as to other products I used during this episode. I traced a line around it and routed out a pocket, leaving a little bit of room all around. To secure the charger in place, I cut 2 little strips of MDF and added 2 layers of squishy foam tape. This way, a slight pressure is made to keep the electronics in place when the strips are screwed to the inside of the tabletop. Still on the underside of the desk, I started to prep some cable management and added 2 power strips simply screwed so I can power a whole bunch of stuff. To make the tabletop front edge more comfortable on the arms, I made a 45-degree chamfer with the same depth as the gray MDF top so that there is no visible line separating the top face from the edge strip. I tend to stop right before getting to the end of the material because I'm afraid of losing control and go too far into the side edge, so I prefer to grab a sanding block and refine the shape by hand. It's now time to sand out the entire desk surface using the palm sander and raising the sandpaper grits until smooth to the touch. Once the surface was dust-free, I could apply 3 coats of hard wax oil that will make this material look a lot darker, as this is an oil-based finish. Since it was what I used for the drawer cabinet, I wanted to go with the same look for the desk, and I really like the end result. Before getting to installation, I went ahead with removing the previous supports. This is basically a rewind of the installation shown on episode 4 of this Loft bed / workspace series. With the old supports out of the way, I could use a line laser to make sure the new shelf brackets were nicely installed. I started by screwing 3 brackets, making sure the new drawer cabinet can slide between the left bracket and the middle one with a little extra space. Then I attached the right side bracket and reinforced with an extra bracket in the middle area where the computer, speakers, and my arms will be. I got these brackets online and they are just awesome. Super lightweight since they are cast aluminum, big enough to make the whole assembly sturdy, and they can hold up to 400 kilograms of weight, which is insane and more than enough for this purpose. I will leave the link below in case you're interested, and if you're curious, the overall size of the desk is approximately 190 by 75 by 5 centimeters. The finish coats are finally dry, so I can have a little satisfying moment. With the desk installed over the brackets, I could work on the wire management and hide all the possible cables. This new setup feels so much better. But this isn't over yet, as I had the idea of placing my audio interface below my iMac to have it always ready to go if I need to record some audio or music. So I grabbed the last scrap piece of dark gray MDF I had, which isn't wide enough to work as a monitor stand, and cut it into several pieces. To get the width I need for the top, I have to join two pieces, and since I'm doing that, I added a thin strip of yellow material to go along with the other desk carry elements. It's a super simple and yet nice detail that in my opinion looks much better than two gray pieces with a joint line. Once the glue was dry, I could scrape the glue squeeze out and trim off the piece to its final size on the table saw. Now it is a good time to sand the underside and move into gluing the side pieces. Those are simply butt jointed as there's no need for anything stronger. I prepped it for finish and applied the same hard wax oil as I did on the desk. I can now install the 3D printer in its place, and to prevent the monitor stand from scratching the desk surface, I put a little bit of sticky velvet on the edges, and it is ready to be set in place. I'm very happy about the way the desk turned out, and I can definitely feel that this is doing me some good, so I encourage you all to rethink and make changes to your current furniture if you suffer from back and leg pain, as the changes might improve your body posture and blood flow more than you think. I also took the opportunity to upgrade my speakers, which sound so good for the price. In the next episode, we will work on the background wall to enhance not just the visuals, but also the acoustics of the space and hopefully improve it for audio recording as well. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all my Patreon members for supporting my work and making this video possible. If you want to support my work too, head over to patreon.com/gethandstory or visit my online store and buy a t-shirt, plans, and a lot more stuff. Thanks everyone for watching and go get your hands dirty. Até já.